Hello everyone, my name is Hanseul Kim, and this study was done along with fellow students Andrea Gallardo here in Tianying, and advised by Professors Lorrie, Cranor and Lujo, Bauer at Carnegie Mellon University. Our study explored the usability of iOS and other app features when trying to detect iPhone security compromises in context of stalking and intimate partner violence. So this talk will discuss some problems about stalking and intimate partner violence. So if you need to step away, this may be a good time to do so. Globally, about 1 in 3 women between the ages of 15 to 49 who have ever been in a romantic relationship experience intimate partner violence, which we will refer to as IPV, though this problem is also experienced by non-women. Digital technologies are increasingly being used to spy on, stalk, and harass intimate partners and stalking victims. And what makes this problem worse are spywares and stalkerware apps. There are profitable global markets for these kinds of softwares, and here is an example of Apple App Store review for a popular stalkerware app. The review on the left says the app did a great job giving them access to their husband's phone, and review on the right mentions that downloading the app onto their wife's phone and also complains about the cost. This is an example of an app explicitly marketed and being used to spy on intimate partners, but legitimate apps such as Google Maps or actual device features like cloud syncing can also be used for stalking. Our study considers a threat model in which an attacker or abuser does not require technical sophistication, but rather takes an advantage of physical access to the device to things like enabling location sharing, downloading apps that may transmit data back to them. We also consider attackers or abusers who may know enough about the victim to guess passwords or security answers to gain access to an account like iCloud or Google, as well as consensual or coercive situations where couples may share their passwords and access. Since we wanted to test the usability of current iOS and app interfaces in the context of stalking and IPV, we focused on the ability of victim support networks, such as friends, families, or coworkers, to detect and resolve security compromises in these 4 listed simulated stalking scenarios: location sharing, suspected spyware, iCloud compromise, and jailbreak detection. We conducted 18 semi-structured interviews with participants who acted as friends or coworkers to a hypothetical stalking victim. We did not recruit victims of IPV or stalking to avoid any re-traumatization, since the question of usability can be explored with general population users. We'll only have time to tell you about scenario 1 and 3 today, but rest are in the paper. For scenario 1, we asked participants to guide us through how they would confirm whether someone is tracking their coworker's location. We set up the test device's location to be shared with an imaginary character, Mallory, as it's shown in the screenshot. Most participants knew to look into location services to find out that Google Maps was using the device's location. For those who didn't, we gave them hints leading them to the iPhone's location services, showing them that the locations were always enabled for Google Maps, as it's shown in the left screenshot. However, none of the participants searched within the Google Maps app, and we had to guide every participant to actually open the app. Participants expressed frustration with the process to get to the location sharing option within the Google Maps app from iOS location services. One participant said it was just too much jumping around. Another said it was tricky to go into the app setting, not just iPhone settings, so they had a bit of issue to find it, even though it was all there. Most of our 18 participants found it easy to disable sharing once they found the right setting in the app. Now I'll hand it off to Andy, who will discuss about scenario 3.
Thank you, Hanseul. So in scenario 3, we told participants that some of their friends' photos and iMessages were disappearing, and that new ones their friend didn't recognize were appearing in the iPhone. When we asked them what steps they would take to figure out whether someone else could see their friend's photos and messages, 12 of 18 participants looked at the iOS photo settings, searching for things like shared albums, as shown on the left, and some also looked at the messages settings, shown on the right. Yet there were no indicators here that could confirm whether another person had access to the data. We gave 11 of 18 participants the hint that this was occurring because of device syncing, and nudged 7 of those towards the iCloud settings within the main iOS settings to see if they could locate the list of devices that were logged into the iCloud account. Most participants were familiar with the concept of iCloud and the iOS settings user interface, but half of them had difficulty actually locating that list of devices in the Apple ID settings, which would reveal that an unknown device was logged into the account. Many participants went to this initial settings screen, selected the Apple ID where it says Bob Boberson, and then once they reached the Apple ID settings, they continued to search, selecting options on the screen such as password and security, name, phone numbers, email, family sharing, and iCloud. Eventually, we need to take them back to this Apple ID settings screen where, as some of you may have noticed, at the very bottom of the screen is the list of devices. One problem here might have been that the unknown device shown on the right here and named ABC was not immediately visible. One participant said, "I think I knew generally to look under iCloud, but I just didn't know the full screen." Once they found the list of devices and saw the unknown device logged into the iCloud account, most participants found it easy to select and then remove the device, given the option that says "Remove from account" in red letters, shown here on the right. Thus, for both scenario 1, location sharing, and scenario 3, iCloud compromise, most of our 18 participants did not find it intuitive to locate the options that would inform them about a remote user with access to their friend's data. Yet, once they were shown the options, they found it easy to remove access. So, what can be done about these usability issues? For the sake of brevity, we will highlight our recommendations for just these 2 scenarios. First, regarding location sharing, we recommend that companies provide users with persistent, visible indicators that their location data is being transmitted to other users. Indeed, while Google's developer policy bans stalkerware, which it defines as, quote, code that collects and/or transmits personal or sensitive user data from a device without adequate notice or consent and doesn't display a persistent notification that this is happening, end quote, navigation apps such as Google Maps, Waze, and Find My also do not provide persistent notifications that location data is being transmitted to another user, showing a concerning overlap with Google's own stalkerware definition. To improve transparency, an indicator could alert users to the fact that they are currently sharing their location with another user, not just using location services. We also recommend that companies generate less predictable periodic notifications so that an abuser cannot regularly check and delete such notifications, as well as provide an option to require authentication in order to start sharing location with another person, since there is currently no such option available. And regarding iCloud account compromise, we recommend that Apple add indicators in app settings to inform users about devices accessing their iCloud account and perhaps making changes in those apps. Additionally, we recommend that Apple make finding logged in devices easier by making the list of devices more immediately visible, since it is located at the bottom of the Apple ID options screen without being itself a searchable option. To wrap things up, we'll leave you with a few takeaways. Participants found it difficult to detect when an iPhone was transmitting their data to another remote user, primarily due to 2 underlying factors: the inability to locate relevant options and the lack of immediately visible indicators of data transmission. Our work highlights the need to consider the threat model of stalking and IPV when designing user interfaces, which will not only make victims safer by minimizing the threat model, but will also make interfaces more usable for anyone concerned about their privacy or security. Thank you.